Wondering what the top producing agents in the country are doing on a daily basis? Today, I'm joined by Patt. We're going to talk about the 5 traits we see in top producing agents. And wondering why Brad's the perfect person to speak on this? He oversees and works with over 1,000 agents with Berkshire Hathaway, HomeServices, Fox and Roach up in the Philadelphia area. He is the Senior Vice President, Regional Manager, and I can't wait for you to hear his insight. All right, Brad, I am super excited to, man, this is really just, you and I have been having some of these conversations. We had one the other day and I was like, we really need to record some of this, it was just so good. Your insight is something that I value. So I really wanted to just really take this because as you're overseeing or you're working with over 1,000 agents, there have to be some specific traits that we see, especially those that are top producers. And so what I'd love to do today is let's just kind of go through and talk about some of those traits that you see in some of these top producing agents, these agents that are really outperforming the market. So Brad, if you don't, before you even get started, in case somebody doesn't know you, if you could just give them a little bit of an outline on kind of your background, what that looks like, how you got into real estate, all of those things, if you don't mind.
Great, Jimmy. Thank you very much. And thank you for asking me to be here. I've been in the business 21 years. My role today, I'm a regional manager, senior vice president with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Fox and Roach Realtors. We serve primarily Philadelphia market and suburbs surrounding northern Delaware and parts of New Jersey. I began my career, I'm a 3rd generation realtor. My grandfather had started a great company in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania in 1953. My father and uncle, twin brothers, grew the company really out of the basis of integrity and professionalism. And I was lucky enough to be part of the company after I graduated from Penn State, went out and explored life a little bit, came back, got my license, started as an agent, really cultivated my own success on my own. My father made it a point to not show any nepotism, which I'm very grateful for today, because I really, again, stood on my own, found my own way to success, got into leadership in 2006. And as you noted, I'm grateful to work with over 1,000 agents throughout Montgomery, Bucks, and the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania.
So Brad, this is an interesting journey, 21 years. Obviously, you're kind of like me. I grew up with both of my parents after they divorced, building real estate companies. And so I guess it's kind of like you. That's all I ever knew, to be honest. I went and this is what I've always kind of in our blood, I guess you could say.
It really is, Jimmy. When we spoke last week, I put that common thread together and really felt it between you and I. We've really navigated our own career paths, but had that foundation of knowing what real estate was all about growing up and, really having it in our bloods. I think that's why you and I share such a great passion to help others succeed.
Yeah, well, that was the thing is like you said, I didn't get any special treatment. If anything, I was probably got the other side of it because I had to prove it. But I'm so thankful for that. But I did have the ability to have someone that I could call, and not everybody does in real estate. So I think this is why you and I are driven so much to help agents because somebody did it for us, ultimately.
Absolutely. So, yeah, my father was an amazing mentor and, truly taught me to treat others as you want to be treated, the golden rule, and really apply that in your service delivery to your clients. And I really look at the same perspective, how I treat my client, our agents, and really looking to serve them and help them to achieve success. So I agree with you.
And the numbers don't lie. The success that you guys have seen up there and the growth you've seen and the just the ability to really build a company that's so admirable, it speaks for itself. But listen, what I want to do today, Brad, because we want to get some value to these agents. Let's talk about some of these things because I think we're at a place really unique with a market shift that we've been seeing in just about everywhere. That we're at a place where there are some things that have changed, but there are things and traits that really stand the test of time in top producers. And even though the winds may change, the setting of the sails really doesn't for these top producers. So if you don't mind, let's start with some of the traits that you see. We'll just kind of go through these individually, if that's okay. If you don't mind, tell me one of the first traits you see.
Obviously it starts with having a goal and developing a clear business plan. The top leaders I see, they understand exactly where they're heading year in, year out. They start the year, perhaps even in October or November, planning for the next year, establishing their financial goal, and in turn their transaction goal and what it's going to take them to get to that level of success. And then they monitor that plan throughout the year. And they're monitoring their pendants, their listings, their closed transactions. I work with one particular team leader, Lisa Wright, who actually breaks down her team population and a goal per team member, herself included as a team leader. And they have weekly or monthly team meetings where they review their pipeline of business, their closed activity, and they step it up where they need to. If they're not with the number of appointments or transactions that they want to achieve, they fine tune that plan throughout the year to make sure they end the year at their mission and goal.
Brad, I think this is it's so interesting too, to see some of this stuff really, the traits that I see in some of the top producers where they've got that plan. I think you made a great point. It's constantly evolving though. They're evaluating it. One of the things I've always said is if you inspect something, you can expect it to grow. So
Absolutely.
They're constantly looking at those. And I know you work with some agents where you help put those programs together. I do as well. I'll give you a couple of examples of some of our agents. As our market shifted, we were making adjustments to their plan of action. We were making adjustments to where they were spending their income as far as what was the percentages. One of those traits I've seen with one of our particular, we've got about 4 or 5 really fast growing agents, agents that are in their 30s or, early 40s. And a number of them from whether it be Tanika O'Brien, whether it be Brad Reese, Brad Daylor, Justin Wilkerson, some of those agents that have gone from literally, we're talking about first years in general business coming out of either new homes or shifting into this business and doing $30+ million. And one of the biggest things it's amazing, but one of the things that I see consistent with them is their plan of action and they stick to it. Yep. They've got something, you and I've talked about this before too, that if you don't have a target, you don't even know if you're heading in the right direction. And
exactly right.
So let's talk a little more about that. What are the specifics? You kind of mentioned where, like when you're talking about Lisa, where she's really targeting the pending contracts, the listings. What are some of the other metrics you see some of those agents really watching to see if their business is healthy or if it's growing?
I mean, absolutely. You've got to understand where your pipeline of business is today. How many contacts are you making daily? And we're going to talk about prospecting, but how is your conversion rate of contacts to appointments to sales? And where do you need to finesse your plan? You mentioned dollar spend by agents, and a lot of our agents that are at the upper level of production, they have their own true marketing budget. They work from a business plan. They treat their real estate business as a business, and they understand their marketing spend and where they're getting their greatest return on investment and monitoring leads generated by their marketing dollars outlaid. So I think it's really important, as you noted, that agents continue to, really keep tabs on where their leads are generated and understand where the dollars are best spent and get the return on those dollars and up the ante. If they're finding that they get greater return on a mailer or a farming piece or some level of customer appreciation event, then they may focus greater dollars on those items.
I have a feeling when you mentioned it a little bit earlier, that's probably going to lead us right into one of those second traits that we see with top producing agents. What would that second trait that you would see be?
You start out with a plan, and secondly, you've got to prospect, and you've got to prospect consistently. I'll never forget when I started in the business with Fox and Roach, our now chairman, Larry Flick IV, would acknowledge one of the utmost positive traits of all top producers is they set aside time blocked daily for prospecting. And it's all too crucial in any market, whether it's a buyer's market, a seller's market, as we're currently experiencing, that agents step out of the whirlwind, the day-to-day urgent, but not ultimately, urgent and important. Step out of the urgent and do the important, do the prospecting daily, and nothing gets in the way. Those top agents treat prospecting just as they would a listing appointment on $1 million listing. Nothing gets in the way religiously. Right. You and I have both seen agents with the best of intentions where they get into a good bit of business. They've got a lot of pendants that they're juggling, some listings coming on the market, and prospecting falls off. And then the pipeline of sales 30 days, 60 days, 90 days out is non-existent because they didn't stay to the plan.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's I call it the roller coaster of real estate. It's where you get so busy then having to handle the contracts that you stop prospecting. And then once those are done, you're at the bottom again. You have to start prospecting again. Then once you get busy, it is an ever, it's something you can't get off of until you get that consistency. I've seen a number of agents that are, that especially through the change and the shift in the market last year with the pandemic. I'm sure y'all have had some agents. I mean, I know one of your agents in particular that has been consistent. Is there anybody that stands out as far as an agent that's been consistent with their?
Yeah, one of our very, very top agents, Robin Gordon, who's an award winner year in, year out. Even throughout the pandemic, she continued to send mailers out, farm pieces out, to stay in touch with her sphere of influence. Let her know that she was still in business, that transactions were happening in the marketplace, and she never paused. And when we came out of the pandemic and the stay-at-home in the state of Pennsylvania, her business was off and running because she stayed consistent to that prospecting, which has really proven to work for her and many other agents very well.
I was on a call with Robin, right. I think it was like the first week of April last year, with Chris Stewart. We were doing something for the brand, and I remember her saying that she was not only going to be consistent, she was actually stepping up the amount of marketing. So the consistency in a shifting time almost got even increased rather than pulled back. And that just, I haven't talked to Robin about how her business is done, at the second half of the year. Yeah, I would imagine. I mean,
to your point, look, COVID was tough for all of us, and some agents chose to retreat. Others chose to stay the course and, truly check in with their client base, see how they were doing, not just in a real estate sense, but in a caring sense. And it's that consistent prospecting, reaching out with true intentions and positioning yourselves as a market expert and one that truly cares about the person on the other end of the line. It comes shining through. Mm-hmm. And when you maintain that touch throughout the year in various ways, it's going to yield great results.
Brad, I was just sitting here I'm looking at this gorgeous backdrop you have, and I'm just in this white room. I feel like I'm letting you down a little bit with my backdrop. It's looking really good there. I just noticed how much of a difference there is between.
Jimmy, I got to thank Regine. It's not actually my office, but boy, I wish I was sitting here as well in reality. But no, it looks great, man.
No, I know. I was just feeling bad for a second there. I was like, no wonder Brad's got so many, his role. I mean, he's got the coat, he's got the background. I'm just like slacking over here. So
it's not 81 and sunny though, Jimmy.
That's true. Well, let's talk a little bit about the third thing, because I think these are really leading right into it. I mean, you talked about the consistency, like with Robin, you talked about with Lisa of having the plan. Let's go into number 3 of what you see as far as a trait for those top producing agents.
I think as we get into that whirlwind, managing the urgent and the important, it's crucial to have systems.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And by systems, I mean, an agent needs to understand what their listing presentation is all about. Are they a one-step listing agent? Are they a two-step listing agent? Do they send out a pre-listing package in advance of the listing opportunity? When they're working with buyers, do they put together a buyer tour and show that buyer value that they bring to the table to earn the client's business, get that buyer agency signed before the agreement of sale is being signed, and really work within the day-to-day developing systems so that when they get that call, they understand how to make it happen and make it happen efficiently. We've got a top agent in Coopersburg, Pennsylvania, Rebecca Francis, who has skyrocketed, from a brand new agent 5 years ago to really nailing a luxury niche where she's got a commanding market share in the local higher end marketplace. And she's got such a great system down between her marketing efforts and her listing presentation, her buyer presentation, and she knows what to do when she gets that call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. You brought this up on the systems. I don't know of a single top producing agent or team that doesn't have systems on lock, systems for marketing, systems for transaction management, new listings, listing appointments, listing presentations. Every bit of it is just it almost becomes boring. And you mentioned, that as well. I'll give you a perfect example. We've got Ann Winnicky that works with us. She's one of the top 25 single agents in the entire company with one assistant. There is no way she can do $80+ million worth of business without systems in place. Yep. And the thing is they're so simple. She does literally, it is that she's got a database that she just communicates with consistently through email, through calls, and through text. It is systematic every day that she's going to be contacting that certain group of people.
Absolutely.
We've got Susan and Shelley out on our St. George Island office, and they're one of the top producing teams in our company. It's a systematic. We were going back to the prospecting. Systematically, they're sending a video update on the market every week with what's going on in the market. Every week they're sending what's going on on the island over there where they are, of what's coming up as far as activities that people can participate in. It's just those systems in place. I think if there was one trait I would say out of everything we're probably going to talk about, it's that they have a systematic plan of action that they just simply execute on a daily basis. So would you agree with that, Brad?
I mean, Jimmy, you brought up having a simplified system. Let's break it down. How are we going to communicate with our client base? What prospecting efforts are we going to put forward? I talked to a lot of top producing agents, coming back to, again, consistent prospecting, but having a system to do so. It's not challenging. I'm a big fan of the author and speaker, Darren Hardy. He put out a book called The Compound Effect.
Yep.
If you think about it, I've got an agent, top agent, independent, single agent in our firm, Lori Burgess, last year, did an amazing number of transactions all by herself. And she's got a system down of writing handwritten notes, sending out newsletters, hosting a customer appreciation event, and nothing gets in the way. And that system, simplicity, broken down, let's think about it. You're right, 2 handwritten notes a day. Who can't do that? You times that by 5, you've got 10 out each week. Times that by 4 weeks, you got 40 going out each month. Multiply that by your years in the business. The compound effect of making those simple action steps daily. 2 a day isn't much, but you compound that, it's just a return, and you get the systems down, you see the results.
No, I completely agree, Brad. I mean, I think this is one of those where, certain people will have certain systems. It may be on their marketing side. It may be having that on your schedule where it's 8 to 10 every day is going to be making phone calls to past clients, new prospects, whatever it is, but there's those systems in place. Let's shift to the next trait that we see in top producing agents, if you don't mind, Brad.
I'm a big fan of being a student of the industry, and I think top producers are students of the industry and the marketplace. As an agent, I think it's crucial to position yourself as a market expert, to know what's going on in your local marketplace. We haven't been to too many cocktail parties in COVID, but they'll come back, and we're certainly communicating with our sphere of influence, our client base, our friends and family, and knowing some basic statistics in the market. What is the month supply of inventory? If no new inventory came on the market, how many months would it take for the market to consume all of the inventory at the current pace of sales? What are the days on market? What does the current inventory look like year over year? And what is most important to most of our clients, or all of our clients, what's the adjustment in the average sale price? We've been in this rapidly expanding seller market for quite some time now, and the appreciation rate has just been unbelievable. I talked to an agent today that actually listed a property last October for $578,000. They had 2 offers, one at $570,000, one at $575,000. Seller decided to wait to put it onto the market today. They just got 6 offers on the property between, last Monday and today. And the top offer is $660,000, a $90,000 increase from last October for the same property. So knowing those statistics, knowing what's going on in the marketplace, if you've got a seller out there wondering if they may want to consider selling, ask them, what price would it take? What price would it take for you to consider putting your home on the market? And they very well may consider putting their home on the market. But being a student of the marketplace, and then again, also the industry in total. Jimmy, I'm a huge fan of your podcast. I mean, you put out such great value to our agents, to agents in the marketplace, with genuine care, and it comes shining through. Really, as an agent or a leader in the industry, seeking out information, how we can get a golden nugget. How can we learn one new trait to take advantage of, and put to work for ourselves to work smarter, not harder, and really leverage every opportunity in the marketplace.
Brad, you bring up a good point a little bit earlier. I appreciate those comments. I really do.
Absolutely, man.
One of the things that that I really have been trying to communicate to agents right now is to not only be a student of the market today, but the historical factors that we see in play.
Yeah.
You mentioned days on market. You know, this is a telltale sign. When days on market, which we just looked at these numbers today, we are at an all-time record for 20 years with our average days on market
20
being
years,
20 years. So we're looking at, okay, now where are we compared to 2004? So when we're seeing this price appreciation, what did we see? What could be the telltale signs? Not that I want to be the guy that's saying that the market's going to, but it would be naive to not think that at some point, if we can't continue at this pace, you know, you start annualizing this. So what are those telltale factors? And each market has different ones. In our market, and I'm sure this is the way in many markets is, you will continue. What we're seeing now is we're seeing transactions continue to go up and the average price go up.
Correct.
There was, if we look at 2004 and we look at the previous cycle before that, we saw that average transactions began to level off and prices continued for about a year. So there was beginning to be that separation between what buyers were willing to pay and sellers were willing to sell for, even though the market and the average price kept going up because, you know, we've got such demand at this point in the market cycle. Typically, those are some of those things to be watching. Being able to communicate to a seller, just like what you said, the story of what's happening in the market and understanding that we're at a place where, you know, just having those stories where, okay, are we at a place where your upside potential is beginning to be outweighed by your downside risk? You know, when you can put those things in perspective and be a student of the market, understand that where we are in the cycle and actively communicate that. I don't know of a top producer. I'll say this. The top 10 people that know and understand our real estate market in our local market are the top 10 producers.
Absolutely.
It goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
So if you're wondering what to do, if you're a new agent, you're an agent that's plateaued, I would say this: the more knowledge you can grab about your current market and where you are in the cycle and where historically you are, and be able to communicate that in stories out to people, it's just going to show up. Would you agree, Brad?
Yeah, man, I think it's crucial. You know, I mean, agents, sales professionals send out communications to their sphere. It should really be from a position to some degree about the market. Every homeowner wants to understand, our price is escalating, our price is depreciating. You know, if I were to consider where do I stand in the marketplace? So really being a student of the market, positioning yourself from that aspect and communicating that value to your client base where they understand, you know, where the market stands today is really crucial. Yeah. And I think also, you know, just the general being a student of our industry, you know, there are so many resources with Brian Buffini podcast, your great podcast here at Fox and Roach, one of our great top sales professionals, Jason Ostrowski, runs an outstanding podcast that you were kind enough to join us for a couple of weeks back. You know, seek out content as to what's going on in the industry, you know, Inman News, Risk Media, you know, and our outstanding brand at Berkshire Hathaway. We're coming out with this amazing new platform, the Influence Quotient, and the Influence IQ platform. Our sales professionals will be able to tap into a repository of the very best agents in the industry at our firm, at our franchise, you know, sharing great ideas in that mindset of abundance that we share within this franchise and this great brand.
I completely agree. I would say right now, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to find another group. You know, I mean, this is a situation where we're at a place where we've never had the ability to be connected, like you and I are doing this. I mean, let's be real. 2 years ago, you know, we would see each other maybe at a conference or a convention, and we'd see each other. But you and I we did this last week. You know, we're doing this again this week. So we have that ability to connect and to find, as I call OKPR kind of people. Yep. There are other agents that are in other markets that you can create your own mastermind group. And when you got a system like the IQ system where you can tap into the best ideas out of a group of 50,000+ agents, why would you not do it? So I agree. We've never had if we're going to be students of the market and the industry, you've never had a time when we had the access that we have right now. So let's roll into, because we've really been talking about some of these traits, really that, you know, having the plan, being prospecting, going out there and having systems, I think, and also being a student in the industry. What would you say to cap this off would be that fifth trait that you see mostly?
Yeah, the fifth trait is one that I think really needs to be in the core fabric of who we are as a company and who we are as agents and sales professionals. And that is giving back to the community and really being a champion of your local community. One of our top agents in the Lehigh Valley, a guy that I just respect to the ends of the earth, Mick Seislove, started a few years back a program that is started by individuals throughout the country, but he started the program 100 People Who Care, where he gets together 100 people that we commit to taking part in this charity initiative 3 times a year, so $300. And he gets together 3 charities on these 3 different evenings spread throughout the year. Each of us show up with $100. 3 charities present their outstanding cause. And in that one evening, over $10,000 is raised. And as a patron of the event, you select the charity that moves you the most, make the $100 donation, but it's the compound effect again of getting 100 people together at $100 a head, $10,000. The absolute overwhelm to these charity heads that are there for the evening is just so awesome. And Mick did it not out of intention to cultivate business. He did it out of the intention because that's who he is. He gives back to the community. And he is, really struck a chord now with 100 people that know his mission is for the care, not to drive business. But guess what the output is? He gets a lot of referral business because people know just how much he cares about the community. So, giving back to the local community, I've also seen agents with great reward by being on charity boards and the opportunity to meet very influential business leaders that are typically part of these boards, and great opportunities come out of it. But going in, not with commission breath, but with, charity-minded pursuits and really dedicating time to your local community is outstanding.
Yeah, I think this is such a great point because I don't think you can fake it. You have to be authentic about what it is. So everybody has something they're passionate about. Whatever that organization is for you, just get involved. First off, it's life-giving for us to be a part of something that is bigger than us. And I'll say this: you draw the type of people to you for what you do. So, and what I mean by that is that if you're driven by service to others, I'll promise you, odds are your client base that's going to be referred to you is going to be someone that is going to be a lot more focused on everybody instead of just themselves. Let me just put it that way. And so I think, what we're seeing right now is there's never been an opportunity, in my opinion, either, with the abundance we have in our businesses right now, to make an impact in our community. And that can be, whether it be financial donations, sometimes it's easier to write a check than it is to go spend a day serving. And so whatever that looks like for you, there are so many different ways. And I'm like you, I don't know if, I will say this: transactions and self-focus you can do that for a short period of time in this business. But it's those relationships, it's giving back, it's a model and a fabric of service that you can't hide. Those are the things that win the long term and build relationships the way you said. Brad, this is so good. And you want to add to that a little bit?
I could agree with you more, Jimmy. When you do it with intention, it's going to be felt by those around you, giving back to the community. And I do agree with you also, who you surround yourself with, will either elevate you or bring you down. And when you surround yourself with great people and you work with the true intention of giving back, you're going to attract people that are similar to you, that are, driven in business, that are charitably minded, that, you share a common thread with, and that bond just happens much more quickly and authentically.
I completely agree. Brad, this has been great. I'll tell you, I think agents are going to listen to this. And listen, you may only have 1 or 2 of these traits that you really need to focus on. But if you'll lean in, I promise, these are the traits we see, that Brad and I see with top agents. Promise you, if you'll develop these traits, or if you've already got them in place, enhance those traits and really lean in on them, your business is going to grow. Brad, listen, if somebody is hearing this and they have a referral for your area, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you so that you can help them find the perfect agent for that referral?
Then call me anytime, Jimmy. My cell phone is 610-360-5188. or send me an email at brad.patt@foxroach.com.
See, Brad, this is where you made the mistake that one time giving that number out. And then it was literally like, I was like, you shouldn't have given that to me, Brad. I'm going to wear it.
That's
I keep
all right,
wearing you
man.
out. I mean, I'm leaning on
Call
you
me
for all this.
anytime. You know that, Jimmy.
No. Well, listen, Brad, thank you. Listen, guys, I know you got something out of this. Reach out to Brad. Let him know how much you appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Great to be here, Jimmy.
Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.